Good evening. It's Cindy Fodor here with Stamp the Love, and it is Make It Monday. This is a recorded version because it's a class week. So that means I have 4 projects for you tonight. So strap in, get ready. I am very excited about these projects, and I hope that you'll enjoy them as well. Before I get started, though, I want to just mention a couple of things because January is a crazy busy month. At Stampin' Up! At least. So we have our new catalog that has just gone live on the 6th, which is this one. So hopefully you have that in your hot little hands. If not, make sure you let me know. If you don't have a demonstrator and you need one, I will be happy to send one to you. And so that went live. We also had online exclusives that went live on the 6th. And we also had new kits. There are 3 of them, and you have to check them out. So if you just search kits collection, and then over to the side to the right, I always click on like a filter that gives me the most recent ones first. Even when I do online exclusives, I do that because I want to see what's new, not all of them. So let's see what else. We have bonus days. Let me flip over here. And so when you shop, every $50 that you spend will earn you a $5 coupon. Oh, excuse me. You'll see that goes till February 2nd. And then beginning February 3rd, you'll be able to redeem those on your orders in February. Okay. Additionally, we have our new product of the month, which is this fabulous saying stamp set. So when your order is $75 or more, you can choose this stamp set. If you didn't get the designer paper in December because you didn't place an order or didn't have enough, you will have the option to choose either one of those. So as far as I know, the paper is still available. So that still could be an option for you. However, if you got the paper, you will not be able to pick that again. So these are a once and done thing, unfortunately, because I love that blue paper and I have used almost all of it and I want more. And last but not least is this is our Creative Stamping Collective design for the month. When your order is $60 or more, I will send you this free tutorial. It is PDF and video, 12 different projects, and they are scrumptious. If you love Valentine's Day, you will definitely want to make sure that you get your hands on this tutorial. Now, if you don't want to place an order with me because maybe you're a demonstrator or you have a demonstrator, you can purchase this tutorial. Any of my tutorials in the months, you can purchase for $15, okay? And that's under $1 a tutorial. So yeah, it's a huge discount. All right. I think that is everything. Let's go. Okay, before I start the first project, I just wanted to show you my little banner that I made because I'm having class in my home this month, of course, and also having a team event at my house for Valentine's Day. So I turned that one that we made in December into a Valentine one. And then as I was doing it, I remember these accent things I just bought. Let's see if I can add some of those. So that's what the little flowers and things are. It's this sheet of pop-outs, and they're made of a heavy paper. I don't want to say cardstock, but they're a little thick, like a really lightweight cardstock, and they're called Covered in Flower Accents. So it's one sheet of those that you get in the pack. So I wanted to show you that. And then we'll get started with our first project. I can't wait to go put this in my living room. Our first project is this card, and 2 of our cards are going to be using the new washi tape. And so this is one of them. And this is the stamp and die set that goes along with that, called Greenery Lane. And there's the dies. Now this die is a little different than the last washi tape. The last time you got a sheet of die and it cut everything out that was on the washi tape. This, these are all single, which is sort of nice because then, as you'll see in this, for this card, I'm actually going to stamp some of the stamps. On the next card, I'm going to actually cut out the washi tape. So, all right, let's get started with this one. So I cut this to 4 1/4 by 11, scored it at 5.5, and cut 1 inch off. So it's actually 10 inches. And just because, and I have to say, I did see this by somebody, and shoot, I wanted to write that down. So if this is your card, please, please, in the comments, let me know that you designed this card, because I love how it is done. Okay, so what I did was I took a width of white cardstock, and I'm going to just give you that measurement because it's the washi tape is about 3.5 inches wide, maybe a hair more. I made this at 3.5, and then I did trim off if there was any excess because it is tricky to try to get it lined up straight. The other thing is I should have started with the other card first because that required specific things off of here. And so then I had pieces in between that I didn't use. And so I was able to actually piece some things on here. Here you can see on my sample, which I'm sure you didn't notice, but you see how this leaf ends here? So I actually pieced it right there. And when I use this new embossing folder, which is very cool, don't you think? Let's see if I can get it to focus. Give me 1 second while I work on this focus. Okay, so for now, I'm going to put it on autofocus. That wasn't working the last time, but there you can see. So it's like a slat, but then it has right beside each one. I want to say it looks almost like a siding or something, but really cool and a great way to use this piece. So let's go ahead and glue that on. I'm going to use green glue because of all of the embossing. Trying to run I don't know if you can hear that as I go over it, but it's definitely a very deep embossing folder, so you're going to love it. And I'm just going to place this right at the top and about 1/8 of an inch in. That's going to leave a little bit showing down here, which you'll see in a minute is intentional because when I put this greeting on the inside, I want a little bit of green showing right there. Okay. While we stamp, I'm going to sit that on there just so that it glues in there well. Let's start with, we have 2 flowers here, so we can do those. Turn them the right direction. All right, so we're using Pretty Peacock and Garden Green. This one, I'm going to stamp the darkest one first. And I apologize if my head gets in the way. And then this one is going to get stamped off. So I'll ink that, stamp it off. And voila. Then we have Garden Green. Once again, I will do the outline first in full strength. Works best if you can get right over top of it. And I didn't get that lined up perfect, but... And then, whoops, and then this one, for the solid part, I'm going to stamp that off. And I'm going to intentionally just move that over a little bit, and that will fill in that part. Isn't that cool? All right, now, on my sample, I have the saying done in Garden Green. And for this one, I'm going to do it in Pretty Peacock because I love Pretty Peacock so much. And don't you love this wishing you well? I don't know if if you're like me and you need a really good get well stamp. And this stands out so nice. And I love that it doesn't say get well, but wishing you well. Like, it could be for so many more uses. All right, let's see, where does sample get to? I mean, where'd the card get to? The problem with this design, I will tell you, is that you can't really stand it up because you've cut the front off. So if you don't like that, I guess you could put a clear sheet on the front, a window sheet. All right, let's just go ahead and stick this in place. This is just going to go right inside here, and it's going to fill up this whole bottom area. In fact, it looks like it's a little too wide, so we'll trim that from the back. Come on here. All right. All right, we just need to add our flowers, and we're going to pop those up with some dimensionals maybe. Almost fits on there. Might need a mini dimensional for that. Put this one leaning over into the green. And then this one's only going to have room for one here, I believe. And I really don't want that. There we go. All right. Now I'm going to see. Well, I'll do that for the next one. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit more so that you're a little closer to what I'm doing here. Okay, so the next thing is this. And this is just our linen thread. And I just did enough for like a couple times around. And then I took a piece of our new chevron garden green ribbon. And I'm going to put that on here. But I'm first going to make it easy by sticking it on with the glue dot before I try to tie it. All right. If you're more proficient at tying, you can try to tie it in the air. This way, I'm not tying any bows, but I have bows because it looks like a bow, right? So I just need a knot there, and my finger just pulled that thread through. All right, try that again. All right, there we go. Let's do a little trim up. Okay. So there's that card. How simple was that, right? I probably made it harder than it was, but yeah. So you can add a piece of white paper in here to write your message on. I did not do that, but you're capable of figuring that part out. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, the next card, I'm going to go ahead and do the other one with the washi tape set, which is called Greenery Lane. Again, just to remind you and myself that of the name, because I just want to call it the washi tape set. So I do know who I'm copying this from. This is an exact copy from Susan Campfield, who is just amazing and does all kinds of great fun folds. And so I definitely want to give her credit. Is that not gorgeous? So let me show you how to do it. I did use our retired basic white in 12 by 12, just because I had some of that left. I scored it at 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. Okay. So that creates our base. And then I just fan folded that. So we're going to put this one forward. Let me grab my bone folder. And then this one goes Valley Mountain, Valley Mountain. This one's already folded. Then we have another mountain fold and then a valley fold. All right, now we can work on that. Now I did use washi tape, and let me just grab my washi tape here. And I have a piece of vellum, and I cut that at 3 by 4, I believe. Yeah, 3 by 4. I did that in order to get the most out of a 12 by 12 sheet of vellum, which is what we have now. So And you do have to force that pretty good to get that folded after the scoring. I scored it at 1/4 of an inch from each side. All right. And I feel like washi tape or tear and tape. Did I say washi tape? Meant tear and tape is going to be the most effective in holding this, because you want it to hold well, but you also want it to bow a little bit. And I don't need that linen thread. I did actually, when I made my sample, I got some of the tear and tape that comes in our kits sometimes, and it's narrower, and it works really cool for narrow things like this. But I used a bunch of that when I did a swap that I was in. So this is what it shall be. All right, after you press that down really good, you can pull off the cover like so. And I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see how that's overlapping a little bit. I definitely don't want that to show. So, or not show, but I don't want it to stick to the wrong place. So I'm gonna pull that in because it's just about the right width. If you get it off a little bit, it's gonna go off the edge. We're gonna do the same thing to this side so that we make sure that that is not sticking where it shouldn't be. Well, all right. Okay, so now I want to place this down. I'm going to just put this flat, and I want to center this top and bottom and side to side. And if you're really concerned, you could always put a little pencil mark on your vellum at 1.5 inches. Actually, that's not true. We're at 2.5, so it would be 1.25 inches. But I'm not too concerned, so I'm just going to sort of eyeball it there. And then I'm going to fold that down and press it. That looks pretty straight. I'll turn this one over, tuck it under, and press that down. Now, the reason this has to lay flat is because that's your flat part of the card that you're going to send. Okay? So, yeah. You know, I just realized that I think this is, some of this is not the basic white. This is the new willow white. And I have to tell you, I don't know if you can notice how our basic white, very smooth edges when I scored. This one, not so much. So first time I've used this as a card base. So yeah, just a little note, word to the wise, folks. I'm not going to recommend this for folding until I find out what's going on and why it's doing this. Okay. But it's still going to be a cool card, so let's go ahead and finish. What you want to do then is just give this a little bit of a, so that it sits like that. Now, when you mail it, of course, it's going to flatten again. But once you've rounded this a little bit, you can see here, mine's been sitting around for quite a while, and it's still got that nice little arc on it. Okay. All right. So then on these panels, I just, I cut 1.5 by 5 and embossed each of those. And we're gonna, let's go ahead and just get adhesive on all of these. I have 5 in here and I only need 4. Well, that's always nice when you have more than you need and not less than you need, right? We'll put this in here because I'm sure I'll need to make a few more. I'll just give you a little reminder that these projects are all available. You can come to a class, which this is playing during my first class, which is, let's see, I don't have a calendar right here. Monday, January 12th is my Chambersburg class. And then the 13th and 14th, 13th, I have a morning and evening class at my home. And the 14th, I go to Mount Airy for a class. So you can join me at any of those locations every month, second day of the month, whichever it falls, Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Or if you place an order of $50 or more online, by the 15th of the month, you will get all 4 of the projects that I'm showing you tonight in the mail. Okay? Can't beat that. Now, I did pull out our Nature's Textured Notes dies, which I think the stamp might have retired, but the dies didn't. I'm really bad at that and trying not to get rid of things that are still in. So I think they tend to keep some of the dies that are really cool, but don't necessarily need a stamp set with them. So these are all kinds of great textured rectangles, and we're going to put 3-dimensionals on here. And I'm using the thank you from the set because it fits. These other sayings, you can see they're quite big. This is the wishing you well that we use. So that was quite a big stamp, but I wanted a smaller one to fit on here. All right. Excuse me. All right, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to build our flowers onto this tag. Let me just close this because we don't need that anymore. So let's, what I did, since I made I cut out a lot of these, what I chose from the washi tape was, and sorry, I didn't bring that in here to show you, was there's some lighter flowers and some darker ones. So I decided for some of them, I would do the lighter 2 flowers, and then the accents would be the darker ones. Okay, so let me just show you the difference here. With my sample, the larger ones on here are the darker ones, but on this one, the lighter ones are the larger ones. Okay, so I tried to make sure that they each had a corresponding one that was a little more, let's see. I'm just going to go ahead and put adhesive across here. And I shouldn't probably have done that because I don't really want that to stick everywhere. But we'll go with it. I think these flowers will cover a lot of it. I need to tuck this one in here. And I might have to add a little more glue to the back here. Yeah, I can see that's not going to stick. We'll stick that one down and then we'll glue this one to it. How's that sound? And then I'll do the same here. Oops. You have to remember that this has that covering on it because it's got washi tape. I put the washi tape on the white cardstock, and then now everything's sticking to me because my hands are in the glue. All right, let go. Let me lay it down and do it. I wanted to make sure I knew where I wanted it to go first. And then I'm going to add I think what I'm going to end up doing, and I really don't remember, I probably should just use glue dots, but let's just grab some Scotch tape since I have it right here. Very handy. We'll put this down here. I just can't decide where I need it to go without looking at the front, right? Do you guys do that too? I sort of want it a different way. I want this in here and this out here like that. I got to make sure that the width of that doesn't go wider than 4 1/4 inches because then we can't fold it and mail it, right? Uh-oh, I got that up a little too high. Okay, that'll work. Scotch tape to the rescue. All right, now that we have that set up, let me just measure here. Yeah, we're good, I think. Now I want to go ahead and I'm going to use glue dots because that's always a safer bet, right? Or I could put a strip of tear and tape in there, but I'm going to just go ahead and put 2 or 3 glue dots down the center of this. If I can get it to let go of my scissors. I'm a mess today. Messy mess. Okay. There we go. All right, now we're ready to put this in place. And then we can add our gems. All right, so that's just sticking to the center of that so that it can still curve very beautifully. How gorgeous is that? All right, let's get the gems on here. Let me find those. Okay, I grabbed our holographic resin dots, which is what we're going to use. I also grabbed the washi tape because I wanted to show you. I cut out a ton. I used a lot of this, and I still have a decent amount left. But I just saved my extra pieces on the roll like this. I put a little bit of cardstock there just so I was able to pull that up. It's so really easy to work with. These are all pieces I just cut out around them and stuck them on here, so I can come through and cut them with my dies whenever I want to. So that I didn't want that to go to waste, but I didn't need that for what I was doing at the time, but I could need them later, so wanted to save those. All right, let's add our dots here. I know you're supposed to do an uneven amount, but when I'm doing it for class, and these are not part of the product that people get, it just gets a little pricey to put 3 of everything on. But I don't think you need it. You just need a little bit of shimmer and shine there. So then, of course, you can write on the back of the card, write your message. And that is it for that one. Okay, our next card is our Valentine card. And this is similar to the one I sent out in the email, but I changed it up a little bit. I got this in a swap from Sue Kempton Miller, a demonstrator friend of mine. And I just loved how it looked. All of my other Valentine cards that I've done are in our red and white. That's from the Endless Love paper. Endless Love is, and here's the dies, the stamps and dies that I'm using. Actually, I'm just using the dies for this card. But anyways, I love the little fold, so it pulls out as you open it. So I'm going to show you that. It's just a softer look, and it's nice because you'll see that it's not made as a Valentine card. My sample is not, and you can make it be whatever you want it to be. So she used the Sending Love from here and one of these nice sayings from Prayers and Promises, which is quickly becoming my very favorite greeting stamp set, or at least sayings. Okay, so I have the Sending Love here, and I might decide to use one of these stamps. I'm going to put Hugs and Kisses inside because this one is a sympathy card, but I want to make one that's not a sympathy card, so let's do that. Okay. Here's our supplies using Petal Pink and Calypso Coral. Excuse me. This is scored at it's regular 8.5 by 5.5. It's scored at 2 3/4 and 7. This is going to fold in and be the little pocket, and then this is going to fold in, of course, be our front. Okay, and then it's actually going to sit on this Calypso Coral. Oh, I said this is regular size, and it's not. I apologize. It's 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 by 8.5. So I just cut it down 1/4 of an inch because I was putting it on here. And then, of course, with the scoring, I made it small enough to fit on here. Okay, so don't forget that. If you do, you'll have to cut it off. No biggie. All right, let's do some layering, and then we will do our stamping. So I am putting this on the inside, or on this front flap here. It's not the inside. sort of goes on the inside. Now I used this paper, but I did run out of that, so some of them will have this as well, which is still going with our colors because look how coral it looks. Okay. And then this gorgeous paper, which I forget what it is. I will put it on the screen for you. It is so beautiful with the gold touches on it. It's just a soft floral. And then even the backgrounds of it are pretty. The back sides, I should say. The non-glittery side, glistening sides, non-metallic. Hard to decide which direction you want it to go there. I'm noticing that this looks a little bit off kilter. Let's fix that first, because otherwise I might go crazy. All right. Not sure how good I did with that. Okay, so we need to do some stamping, and I forgot that I need to stamp the heart. So let's get that. Let me grab another block here. We're going to stamp that in, I think, petal pink. Looks like my petal pink might need some re-inking, but we'll see. Just want to stamp that right on the center of that. All right. We can go ahead and put this on the front. And then this will need a little bit of green glue. It is going to maybe overlap. I might want it to overlap a little bit, so I don't want to do that side. So we'll keep it mostly on this side, maybe a little bit there. But I also don't want it to fall off, right? There we go. Okay, so far, this is what we have. Now, we're getting ready to do the inside. For this inside piece, I cut this coral at, let me get this exact for you. I think it's 4 1/4 by 4. Yeah, 4 1/4 this way by 4, because I scored this. I actually scored it at 3/8 of an inch. So I should have made it an extra 1/8 of an inch or 1/16, but I didn't. So this is going to go a particular direction like that. Let's go ahead and stamp that before we put that in there. And I'm going to stamp that with, I think I'm going to switch from Old Olive to, and use Calypso Coral. Changing everything up. I'll bring this to my classes, because if it's going to be a sympathy card, then I might want that. That pad has not been used in a while. Wow, that looks terrible. Here's the Hugs and Kisses, I think. My beautiful block from my downline, Karen. Thank you, Karen. Let's hope that this ink pad works good enough. So I'm going to put Hugs and Kisses there. I like this set, but I could have done, there's a Valentine, so you can do a Happy Valentine's Day. And let's try that on the other side. Let's just see what that looks like. Let's grab another block here for my lovely block holder that my husband made. And that we're selling. We're having a cabin fever sale right now, because, you know, when we're stuck inside, although we're having some nice weather here in Pennsylvania, it's getting a little rainy, I believe, but very temperate weather, maybe across the country. Anyways, sort of sometimes in the winter, it's time to clean up and organize and just help yourself feel a little bit better about your space. So let's go ahead and try the Happy Valentine's Day. Let's see if I can get enough ink on there with that horrible pad. And I should have put a pad under it. Let's see if it's going to stick. All right, there we go. I didn't get that inked real well. I hadn't used that stamp yet, so I didn't condition it. All right, now I think we're done stamping. Let's go ahead and stick that on so that I know which side I want to use. All right, so the next thing we need to do is stick this down. This does not get stuck down. It will just get held in place. And I'm trying to decide what I want to use. I think I'm going to use Seal Plus. You could use tear and tape as well, but Seal Plus will hold it well for you. So you're going to just lay this in here flat, like so, right in that score line, okay? So I'm trying to put that edge right in the score line, center it from top to bottom, and then just fold this closed. All right, when you lift that up, it's going to pull that over, okay? The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to just use some green glue because I just want a small line of it. Again, you could use tear and tape there and press that down and hold that a little bit to make sure that glues well. It looks like I forgot to stamp this, so we'll do that next while I'm holding that. This is the Sending Love. So I'm going to try to get that nice and straight on here. Okay, so I don't forget. So this should be, if it was 4 1/4 and I took it down a half, it will be 3 3/4. All right, 3 3/4 by 4 high. All right. All right, sorry about that. And then of course the inside piece goes down a 1/4 inch. Okay, the white piece. All right, I got to remember that for class. We're going to all have to cut those. We almost see the Valentines. I'm going to recommend that you lay it down first so that you know exactly where you want to stamp your saying here. Because when this comes over here, it slides in there, and when you pull it out, you can read it, but you can't pull it the whole way out. So I don't want to stamp past this line here. All right, there we can almost see the S there. All right, just so that you know, that Valentine's word is very long, but still very cool. And we have to add our saying here with our gems. Okay, so the gems that I'm using are pearlized faceted circles, and they're in corals, and so perfect for this card, for this designer paper. Whoops, stick in there. All right, let's grab, what do we want here? I want to put one, well, maybe I should put my tag on first, because I'm going to use the gem as the sort of the tag holder. Move that up just a little bit. And then my gem, if I can get it off, can go right here. There we go. Because there's a lot of other metallic on here, I don't think you need a lot of other shininess, but yeah. Okay. I think that's it for that card. We got a little peek there. Okay, so our next one is this great guy birthday card, and it's a fun fold. This is a swap that I got from that swap as well, and for some reason her name is missing. I did know who it was. All right, I apologize. Oh, I'm so bummed. I glued them to the back so that I would have them. All right, I think my last couple Make It Mondays used this gorgeous paper, this Nature Walk paper. And I'm just using it again because it's so pretty. But I'm using the Nature Symphony, the whole suite of products, including this great dies. And this is a card. Oh, this is a card done. I wanted to pull this in here while I grab those stamps. That washi tape stamp that we used for those first 2 cards. Barbara made this card the other day just with the stamps and using some different colors, just so that you could see how you can pull those stamps and use them for just about anything and not have to worry about if you run out of washi tape. Okay, so this is several pieces here. Our folding part is 3¼ inches wide by 11, so that's scored at 5½. And then of course we have a piece for the inside to go with that, so that'll be 3 inches by 5¼ then we have again our just 4¼ by 5½ square. And since I forgot to put the last one on, I'm going to go ahead and stick this one on. Okay. There's no stamping on this piece, so I think I'll start at the fold side, because if the other end needs trimmed, it's not going to be a big deal, right? Okay, and then our designer paper goes next, and there's depending on where you are on one of the sheets, you'll have different patterns. This one's got some lines on it. I even have some green in the packets that go, of course, nicely as you see what our colors are there. So the Lost Lagoon is the folded card, and then a Pretty Peacock is the base. And then I cut this leaf out of Lost Lagoon as well, and then Old Olive for this one. Okay, so let's do some stamping here. Let me grab my mat. And we're going to stamp To a Great Guy, which is from this set. And that can be for so many things. You know, it can be a thank you or a birthday, so it's really nice that it's versatile. And then I'm going to use this little stamp to just add a little bit of design here. And then also, excuse me, on the inside. Like so. All right, so that's all the stamping there is to that. We can go ahead and tuck this on the inside. If you don't like to write a lot, this is another nice way. That was not dry, so I see I just smeared that. But it's good that we have it erasers, right? And I'm not seeing mine right this second. There it is. Let's see if we can get that off of there. This is a sand eraser. I got this from Amazon. And no, I am not one of those fancy people yet that has an affiliate link where you can, I can send you there and get credit for you buying it from me. I'm just showing you because it's useful, and all of my customers that come to class have them because I bought them in bulk. Okay, that looks much better. All right, so I feel like something happened to my light, but maybe it's just me because I did change my glasses. All right, now this die comes from this huge die right here, but we're only using this piece. All right, so this takes a lot of space, and on some of the other cards that I did, I showed this. But for this one, it's nice. It just gives a tiny little piece. I want to say this card was Leon Graf, but I'm just, that's just sticking in my head. I know it's somebody that I know, but, and it's probably not good to put this on before you put your tag on, but I'm going to wing it anyways, since we have the design right here, right? And I think I'm going to go ahead and pop this up because, you know, we all like dimension, right? It looks like I'm going to be using up, I have a bunch of these that I just came across that need to be, the edges need to be used up. And I would prefer to do that as opposed to my customers having to do that, because I don't mind. I love to use up and not be wasteful. Have you ever been to an event where you actually pulled these edges out of the trash because somebody thought they were trash? Yep, that would be me. I'm going to just put a little green glue here so that I can tuck our little green piece there so that I know where he is. And let me see if I stuck. Okay, I'm going to overlap this just a little bit, but not too much. And I'm having trouble with my die not cutting that complete edge off. So let me just trim that. I should have seen that before I put it down. All right, now I'm going to tell you another thing. You're going to think I'm crazy. All right, so this cut, when I was cutting this out, this leaf right here cut out because it was on the edge of my paper. And because I can't throw anything away, I saved all of them and thought I'm going to go ahead and just tuck that right there. Or I could have put it down here since there was another one showing here. But anyways, let's turn him a little bit. Whoops. Sticking to my sticky fingers. There we go. All right. And then for the gems, I use the Moody Palette glossy dots. And they are so pretty. Here's my take your pick tool. There we go. And we're using the olive ones, I think. If I can get it out of the pack here. It's sticking to my finger, so I'll just scoot it over here. And let's go ahead and do a small one too. And I think that would be perfectly fine just as is. Or if you like bows and you don't mind tying them, you could stick a piece of white baker's twine bow on here. And I think instead of putting a glue dot there, I'm just going to put a little bit of glue and just tuck this. I'm going to try to just tuck that under there. And then that should glue in place if I didn't lose all the glue on my green little guy. There we go. Actually, you know, I said if you like to tie a bow, and because I tucked that under there, I wouldn't have even needed to tie it, right? I could have just folded it and tucked it under like we did the other one. But there you go. Now you know. I'm going to put this up here because I think I like that better. Yeah, actually, there comes that linen thread again. Just trim this up a little bit. All right, so there we go, all finished. I hope that you enjoy these projects. Again, you can get them free by placing a $50 online order anytime this month. And don't forget what we mentioned at the beginning. You got bonus days. Of course, you still earn points. There's just so many things. And then you have the product of the month. So many things to think about. All right, thanks. Have a great week. God bless.